In this episode of The Landscape, I got a chance to speak to someone who's very near and dear to my heart in the CNCF community. Her name is Divya Mohan, and she's a Kubernetes documentation maintainer and a major contributor to non-code initiatives in the CNCF. With KubeCon just around the corner, Divya shares some of her unique perspective on what it takes to maintain and grow the cloud-native ecosystem. Whether it's her work on Kubernetes documentation or her passion for bridging the gap between cloud-native and WebAssembly, Divya brings an insider's view on why documentation, community, and non-code contributions are essential in open source success. In this episode, we explore her approach to making open source accessible for everyone, her work on CNCF's non-code initiatives, and what projects she's excited to see at KubeCon, from Kubernetes to emerging projects like Conveyor and KubeEdge. We'll also get Divya's insights on the Project Pavilion, the new project walking tour, and what she's looking forward to as a veteran attendee. Make sure that you subscribe on YouTube or Spotify to The Landscape if you haven't done so already. This episode is brought to you by OVH Cloud, the global cloud provider delivering industry-leading performance and cost-effective solutions. From managed Kubernetes to private registries, OVH Cloud has the cloud-native tools you need. OVH Cloud, the world needs different. Divya, we're getting close to KubeCon. Everyone contributes differently to this ecosystem. In your particular case, what is it that you do? What is it that you work on? Where are you paying it forward? Tell me about the work that you do.
That's a very good question. I get asked all the time, and sometimes I don't really have like a TLDR version. So please bear with me if this sounds like a lot. So first up, I'm one of the maintainers for documentation on the Kubernetes project. I help maintain the content that you see on Kubernetes.io, which is the website for the Kubernetes project, encompassing documentation, reference documentation, blogs, all the design aspects of it, everything. So I get to do that with a really stellar team on board, who I am also going to be meeting at KubeCon SLC. Outside of that, I'm also involved in like the intersection of cloud native WebAssembly, rather cloud native and WebAssembly. So it's an interesting space for me, particularly because I come from a background where I've noticed multiple performance inconsistencies and seen a lot of issues with application redundancies and portability and stuff like that. So I am really, really excited about how this niche intersection grows, and I've been involved in this space for around three-ish years now. So that's another thing that I do. I don't particularly lead anything in this space. I'm just like a participant and trying to grapple with all the information that comes through and trying to advocate for it in the wider community. And one of the last things that I do in the CNCF space is participate in this working group, I want to say, or an initiative around non-code efforts in the larger CNCF ecosystem, not just Kubernetes, primarily because I believe open source or even cloud native as a subset is so much more than code. It's technology, of course, is important, but as important as the technology is the community, is the project management, is the documentation, and is all the effort around it that are not code as well. So I help, co-host, manage some of these some of the efforts under this initiative, and this is under the tag contributor strategy in the CNCF Slack if you're interested in joining. So those are broadly the three things that I do currently.
And you make it sound easy. I will specifically speak to the third one because I have directly benefited from your efforts. If it weren't for you and Savitha, I never would have got involved as a non-code contributor in the CNCF in early 2021. So I'm extremely grateful for your work there because it is the reason why we're having this conversation today and the reason of how I became a CNCF ambassador and really got connected. So I'm extremely grateful to that. And it's my privilege to be able to help others in a similar position. Now, as we're getting close to KubeCon, you're a maintainer working on docs. What are some of the projects that you're going to be checking out in KubeCon? Can you just give me a couple of examples of projects that you find particularly interesting?
So, obviously, Kubernetes is a project I find interesting. That's like without a doubt. But outside of that, I also think some of the newer projects and particularly projects that maybe my company doesn't really sponsor, but some of the newer projects like Conveyor and KubeEdge. This is not new, but again, like things that deal with like application modernization in general, because that's what I used to do in my previous life. That's really interesting to me. Also, edge computing is another focus area, primarily because I think everything is really moving closer to our customers and our consumers. So, edge computing is a really focus area for me specifically. So, I think anything to do with edge and cloud native is also another focus area. An interesting area, and top projects around that, just like I mentioned, KubeEdge is one of the projects that I'm interested in checking out. And another one that I want to sort of mention and highlight are our own projects, primarily because I think they're pretty cool too. And I'm not going to be checking them out because mostly I'm going to be there at the booth talking about them, but I'd love to chat about them if you stop by and say hi.
All right. Good. Now, in terms of other KubeCon plans, you're going to be working at the booth. You're going to be doing a lot of different things. Are there any talks that you're looking forward to checking out, or anything else that's on your agenda of things that you're looking forward to about the upcoming event in Salt Lake City?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that I'm really looking forward to doing this time around is attending the keynotes in person live, because I never managed to do that on account of various reasons. So this is one of the things that I want to do starting this time around, and hopefully not, catch up on Twitter threads or X threads, as they call it now. So I don't want to be able to do that. I want to actually be able to see it in person. And another thing that I'm really looking forward to is, the maintainer track talks, primarily because, again, CNCF is such a wide ecosystem. It's very difficult to keep track of all the projects and all the happenings within those projects, right? So some of the maintainer track talks, not again specific to Kubernetes, but again wider ecosystem, are some of the things that I'm looking forward to catching up on if and when I get the time. And my co-worker Orlin, I believe, is doing I'm not exactly sure of the term though. He and George are doing this booth thingy, not booth thingy, I don't know what is it called.
Walking tour. Yeah,
that bit. So I'm actually looking forward to hearing from his experience, because I'm no longer a CNCF ambassador. I don't want you to intrude that, but one of the things that I would have loved to do when I was a CNCF ambassador, or one of the things that I've loved to do in general, would have been to do that project walking tour, because I think it's so interesting an experience to gather insights from like these various projects and understand where they are at and what are the pain points and stuff like that. I don't think that has been done before very many times. So that's another experience I'm looking forward to hearing secondhand, of course, from Orlin.
And I agree. I think it's a wonderful addition to the program. We've spoken to George, spoken to some other people that are going to be involved in that, getting more hands-on visibility in the Project Pavilion so people can know more about those projects. It's a big landscape, all right? It can be overwhelming for a lot of people, and this makes it more tangible, makes it more personal in terms of getting to know people. That being said, Divya, it sounds like you've got a busy KubeCon planned ahead of you. I look forward to hanging out with you in person, and best of luck with all your travels getting there. I know it's a lot of flights and a lot of jet lag, but look forward to hanging out with you at Rejects before KubeCon gets started, and then in the main event itself. Take care, and we'll speak soon. Cheers.
Speak soon. Bye.